This is the CPM Statistics Section 1.1 Mathcast. It contains 3 lessons. Students will collect a variety of data and make various graphical representations, including dot plots, scatter plots, stem and leaf plots, histograms, bar graphs, circle graphs, Venn diagrams, and two-way tables. While referring to their diagrams, students discover the difference between quantitative and categorical data and their respective uses. This is a good time to establish team roles and classroom norms. While you may not require explicit team roles for your fourth-year math students, you may need to establish that working together is a fundamental part of the course, and that no student will be allowed to work solo on lessons during class time. This section and the next contain many problem situations similar to those from the CPM Common Core series. Even if your students may be familiar with many of the problem prompts, do not skip these sections. There's a strong emphasis on associating the type of data available in these situations and the type of statistical analysis possible. An understanding of data types helps students choose the correct procedures in testing situations. For example, if a student can identify that information is categorical, then they can understand that the situation calls for conclusions based on proportions, probability, or association. Later on, making them far less likely to try and apply a test of averages to a chi-square situation. This emphasis on data identification begins in Section 1.1 and it's continued throughout the course. Your students may be coming from other courses where a high level of detail is required for the graphics they provide on paper. However, in this class, there's not enough time for this type of activity. Encourage your students to draw quickly, making reasonable representations of the graphics that they provide. Appropriate scaling is necessary for most graphs, but your students should be able to complete any graphic in the course in under 2 minutes time. When your students take the AP exam, they'll only be providing graphs to provide evidence for things such as normality or nonlinearity for some type of larger problem. So spending more than a minute or 2 constructing a graph is going to waste valuable time. Now let's look at some specifics from the 3 lessons, beginning with lesson 1.1.1. Before class, you will need to prepare at least 4 posters for collecting data: a bar graph, a two-way table, a dot plot, and a scatter plot. Details for these can be found in the teacher notes. The lesson is better, however, with 6 to 8 posters, adding at least 1 additional two-way table and a Venn diagram. Again, see the teacher notes for details on these. Before lesson 1.1.2, physically separate the categorical and quantitative graphs from lesson 1.1.1. Make a Venn diagram from the information on one of yesterday's two-way tables and a circle graph, or pie chart, from the information on one of the bar charts. The students will be making comparisons between the graph groups to facilitate their understanding of the difference between categorical and quantitative data. Before lesson 1.1.2, you will also need to prepare a histogram poster for collecting data in problem 1.8. You can find the details on this in the teacher notes. In lesson 1.1.3, students make many graphs and solidify the concepts of the differences between categorical and quantitative data. The jumping frog jubilee is introduced in this lesson and is continued in lesson 1.3.1. Problem 119 is an introduction to identifying categorical variable association using a two-way table. This problem is the beginning of a process that is further developed in Chapter 3, where the rules of probability are derived from the two-way table, and Chapters 8 and 9, where formal tests are conducted on categorical data. If you're teaching the class as an AP course, you want to do your best to stay on schedule and set the tone for your students that the course is challenging and will cover a lot of material quickly throughout the year.